Welcome back to the Press Podcast. We're going to do an episode today where we repick our NFL predictions. Last week we gave you a what we got right, what we got wrong video, and I figured, you know what, this week let's repick after everything that's happened up to this point in the season. Everything's, changed. Obviously, we were wrong about a lot of things, and so we're going to repick stuff. We'll make this video pretty short. We're going to give you who I think our playoff teams are for the AFC and the NFC, our end of year awards, and maybe a Super Bowl pick at the end. All right, so let's start it off. Gonna do NFC first. I'll go first, and then Kian will give you his NFC picks. All right, my NFC picks. 1 seed, San Fran. Think this is pretty clear. I think everybody's in agreement with this. I think there's maybe a few people think that it can change a little bit, but San Francisco is definitely winning the NFC West. And they're coming in first, in my opinion. Number 2, here's my surprise. I know the Cowboys have a tougher schedule than Philly, and Philly owns the tiebreaker. But for some reason, I think Philly's going to slip up. Whether it's in Seattle on Monday night, maybe it's against the Giants team playing better with Tommy DeVito. I don't think they lose to the Cardinals. But maybe they slip up just once, and I think Dallas does enough to get the 2 seed. They're playing better right now. I know they have a tougher schedule with games against Buffalo and Miami, but I think Dallas finds a way. Number 3 team is Detroit. Detroit is stumbling and kind of coming down the stretch. I just don't think anybody in their division can catch them, and they have more wins than anybody in the NFC South can get. So number 3, Detroit. Number 4, New Orleans Saints. Only because they play Carolina again, and they have the advantage of playing Atlanta the last game of the season at home. I think it's at home, but against Atlanta for the last week, that probably could decide the division. Is that game. As long as they have the right quarterback game. Give Jameis Winston a chance. Derek Carr ain't it. Alright. My wild card teams. Well, if Dallas is number 2, that means Philly is a wild card team for sure. But here's my surprise. I think the Los Angeles Rams are going to make it. I thought for sure maybe Green Bay was going to sneak in after their loss to the Giants. You look at their schedule. Tampa Bay's not an easy out. They still have a game against the Chicago team that's playing a lot better. So Green Bay kind of put themselves up against a hard spot. I got the Rams. And the 7th team, well, call me Homer, call me whatever you want. I'm going the Seahawks as the 7th team. I know they have Philly at home, but I think they can find a way to go 3-1 in the last 4. They win 3. They're in. Give me the Seahawks as my last wildcard team. All right, Kian. What you got for the NFC?
Okay, so for the NFC, up first, I have the San Francisco 49ers winning the NFC West and getting the 1 seed. I just think they have the best chance. They're the 1 seed right now, and they're playing really well, and I think that will continue for the rest of the season. And don't think the Eagles or the Cowboys will make it there. So next, I have the Eagles at 2. I do think they have an easier schedule than the Cowboys.
They do.
And I think that will lead to them just barely getting the NFC East. They might slip up, and I do think there might be a close game in there, as they have been slipping up a bit more recently. But I still think they're a good enough team that they will be able to pull this out. And then I have the Lions, who I don't think are as good as the 49ers or the Eagles, and they have made mistakes. They have had some problems, but I still think they're better than any team in the NFC South. So I have them winning the NFC North. And then I have the Buccaneers winning the NFC South.
Buccaneers, okay.
Who currently have the NFC South, and I think that will continue. The Bucks, the Saints, and the Falcons all have kind of rough schedules for the rest of this season, and I think.
Well, will the winning team in NFC South have a winning record, or will they be sub 500 for the 2nd year in a row? Will we get another 8-win NFC South winner? I think the answer is yes. We're going to get another sub 500 for back-to-back years.
Yeah, I think.
You think?
There are going to be some close teams, some close games, and I think it's going to come down to the wire. But I do think the Bucks are going to end up winning the NFC South.
Wild card. What do you got in the wild card?
So in the wild card, of course, I have the Cowboys.
Right.
Because they've been playing really good.
Yep.
Great team. And then I do have the Rams in as well.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the teams that are right on that edge of being in the wild card, I think they have the best chance. I think they've just been playing the best, and I think they will make it. And then I've still got the Vikings in there. It's tough for them, but I think
They do have the advantage right now.
Right now,
Yeah.
they are the 6th seed.
Right.
So I do think they will be able to make it in the playoffs as a 6th seed or a 7th seed. I do think that will be close. But that is my NFC.
All right. Next up, my AFC. Pretty easy up top here. I think that Baltimore will finish out as the 1 seed. I do think that Kansas City is going to leapfrog Miami. Miami, that loss to Tennessee really hurt them, blowing that last 3 minutes. Reason being is they still have tough games against Dallas, like I said before, a tough matchup against Buffalo the last week of the season. So their schedule is not as easy. Kansas City, on the other hand, I think will win their last 4. I think they end up 12-5, and I think they jump to the 2 seed, making the Dolphins the 3 seed. I do think they still find a way to win the division. That means Jacksonville wins the AFC South at number 4. Jacksonville also kind of faltering down the stretch, but I think they win enough just to keep Houston and the Colts at bay. All right, wild card for AFC. Cleveland Browns. Good on you, Cleveland Browns. Racked by tons of injuries. 3 offensive linemen. We, of course, know about Deshaun Watson, and we know about Nick Chubb. What we don't know is they've also lost 4 defenders on their defense. This great defense. That's why defense is not as good as it was the early part of the season, just faltering a little bit with some injuries. That team has lost 10 players to major injuries this year, and they are 8-5. So kudos to them. I think they get at least 2 more wins, and they get in. Next up, there was a lot of talk about what were the Broncos going to do after they got blown out by 50. What if the Broncos get in and they get to go to Miami in the wild card and get to avenge their horrible loss? Wouldn't that be a great story? Well, they're on the path to it. They got a really good schedule finishing up. I think they get at least 3 wins, and they get in with maybe a 10-win season, and kudos to Sean Payton on that. And then my last team, sneaking into the playoffs, getting hot at the right time, team that nobody probably wants to play. It's the Buffalo Bills. I think they find a way. I think the rest of these AFC teams have to battle it out. I think Cincinnati's not going to get enough wins. I think that the Colts and Houston are going to beat up on each other in that division and just going to be at 9 wins. And I think Buffalo somehow finds a way and gets to maybe 10 wins and gets into the playoffs as the last seed, maybe. That's my AFC predictions, revised from the beginning of the year.
Okay. In the AFC, at 1, I have the Ravens. I just think they are the best team in the AFC. I think they're going to finish as the best team in the AFC. And they've just been the most consistent, and I think they're going to win out and get the 1 seed. And then I think this one is close for me, between which team gets the 2 and the 3. The Chiefs and the Dolphins, both of them winning their divisions. And I do think the Chiefs are the better team. So I think they could win. And the Dolphins, there's a decent chance that they slip up, and that could very well lead them to getting the 3 seed instead of the 2 seed. And then at 4, I do have the Jaguars winning the AFC South. It's a bit of a rough division for the other teams in the AFC South, and I think the Jaguars, I don't think they're as good as the teams above them, but they will win the AFC South. And then as my wild cards, I do have the Browns, who have been playing really well this year, and I don't really think there's a doubt that they make it into the playoffs. And then I also have the Steelers getting in.
Ooh.
I think that, it's close, but I think they will be able to get in. They aren't currently, and I
With
think that
Mitch
will continue.
Trubisky as their quarterback?
It's gonna be tough,
Yikes.
but I don't think the other teams um, will be able to catch up to them. And then that may come to bite me, but then I have the Texans winning, and this is close, but you may see later a little bit of a reason why I have the Texans in.
I know why.
But
you'll find out soon.
I do think they have a decent chance. It's kind
They
of
do.
close.
It's gonna be close.
And there's a good chance that they don't make it in. But they are a good team, and I hope they make it in. Just a great story there.
Yeah.
So.
The wild card races in both conferences are going to be fun during
Yeah.
the last few weeks. It's exciting. And, you know, people complain about, oh, that seventh team, you know, are they going to be a good football? You know what? It makes for exciting TV viewing. It makes for exciting football. Do I ever think the seventh seed is going to go crazy and go on a long stretch? No, who knows?
Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
See how they do. Yeah.
Okay. Our end of season awards. How about I just give all of mine, then you can give all of yours instead of going back and forth. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
All right, go first. MVP. I think right now it's down to two players, and I think those two players are Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott. There had been talk about maybe Tyreek Hill, but I just don't think the Dolphins are going to finish enough, and I don't know if he's going to get to 2,000 yards now, especially he's kind of a little banged up. And they got some tough, like I said, some tough games. Even when they play the Jets just play a defense that's not going to let them get a lot of yards. I think I'm going to go with Dak, just because I think the consensus around San Francisco and the kind of thing it is, well, he's got Deebo Samuel, he's got Trent Williams, he's got all these weapons. Dak's doing it with less. Whatever. I think it's a silly argument, but I think the AP voters are going to go with Dak. All right, Offensive Player of the Year. Well, I'm going to stick with my pick from preseason. Tyreek, he's going to win it. Done and done. Sealed and deal. Defensive Player of the Year. I think I would have gone crazy and said, hey, it's going to be a defensive lineman for sure. And then Deron Bland had to go out and break some record that's like 50 years old. Hard to beat that when you lead the league with picks, and then you also have a record for most interception returns for touchdowns in history. I know he has some games where he's had given up some stats. See that game against Seattle, but he also got a pick in that game too. So I think he wins it. All right, Rookie Awards. Offensive Rookie of the Year. In runaway fashion, it's going to be C.J. Stroud. If you say anything else, you are crazy. If you picked that before the season, I think you're a liar. Or you're really good at your job. Maybe. I don't know.
Or lucky.
Lucky. Very lucky. Defensive Rookie of the Year. This one is kind of a three-person race between Jalen Carter, Will Anderson Jr., and Devin Witherspoon. But I do think just because of the team he's on and stuff like that, not necessarily stat-wise, but I do think that Jalen Carter will get it. I hate that, though. I think Will Anderson or Devin Witherspoon may be more deserving for the years they're having. They play more downs. They have more impact. They're on the field more. But that's just me. Coach of the Year. I know I'm going to get this wrong. I don't think he's going to win it. But I think it's kind of crazy that he won't. And especially this year, I'm kind of unfortunate. I think that the Coach of the Year has been most improved result. Instead of, like, if we think about Bill Belichick, he should have 6 Coaches of the Year, but he doesn't. I think he has 3. It doesn't usually go to the team. Like Andy Reid, how many Coaches of the Year does he have? Not enough. And Kyle Shanahan has never won Coach of the Year. And this year he should win it. His team is demolishing everyone in sight. They had a rough stretch, don't get me wrong, when they were unhealthy. But he's doing the best coaching job. Don't get me wrong, he has a great roster. But I think that the way his team plays and how smart they play, it should be Kyle Shanahan. All right, those are my end of season awards. Kian, what you got?
Okay, for my end of season awards, for MVP, this was the toughest one for me. Because it's so close. But in the end, my thought, Brock Purdy. I don't know if
The other
people
guy.
are going to.
You're going with the other guy.
I don't know if people are going to appreciate him for what he's doing, because their team is just really good on offense. They've got best offensive coach, and I think the best coach, as you also think.
Right.
And there still might be a little, oh, he was Mr. Irrelevant. Like, surely he can't be that good. So I don't know if people are going to pick him. And then you have Dak Prescott, and he's been having a great season. But I do think if the Cowboys are a wild card, I don't know if he's going to win it. I think it is going to be close. But I'm going to go with someone who's been playing like good all year, and that's been a consistent team, Jalen Hurts.
Oh, what? Okay.
I've been on the Jalen Hurts MVP train for a little bit now, and I think it's really tough, but I just think he's just been the most clear that he's putting in a lot of effort and he's playing really well. And the Eagles, they've been having a bit of a rough stretch, but I think if they are able to get that 2 seed, I do think that will outweigh what Brock Purdy's been doing. So I'm taking Jalen Hurts for MVP.
Okay.
Offensive Player of the Year, I think it's pretty obviously Tyreek Hill.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he's just been playing amazing. We're having an incredible year at receiver, and yeah, I don't think there's anyone else that's going to come close.
What about Defensive Player of the Year?
Defensive Player of the Year. So my thinking, a little bit of this. I feel that if I pick someone and at the beginning of the year and they've been doing great, I'm continuing with them. And I'm picking Myles Garrett.
Yeah, see, I had a different Cowboy. I'm sure you know what that Cowboy was to start the year. He's not going to win it. Anyway, Myles Garrett, you should stick with him.
Yeah, I do think Dron Bland is going to have a great chance at winning, and I think he should win it. I think he deserves to win it. He's been having a great season as a player that basically came out of nowhere. Was, I believe, a day 3 pick in last year's draft, and he's been having an incredible year. But Myles Garrett, he's been a star player for the Browns defense, and he's been one of the best edge rushers, if not the best edge rusher, for a while now. So I do think he deserves to win Defensive Player of the Year, and I think this is the year that he will get to. And then for my Rookies of the Year, on the offense, it's got to be C.J. Stroud. He's a quarterback on a team that's been doing way better than expected, and he's playing phenomenal. I don't think anyone's going to come close to him.
No, he's winning it. He could not play another down. I know he got hurt with his concussion. I hope he gets better. He could not play another down. He is winning that award. Okay, go ahead. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Hardest one to pick, by the way, Defensive Rookie of the Year, in my opinion.
This was, again, difficult for me. But I do think it is going to be Jalen Carter. He's on the best team, and he's...
You're right?
Yeah, I just need some more.
Man, too late for that. All right, Jalen Carter.
Yeah, and he's been doing like really good on this Eagles defensive line, and the defense has been good. And I don't think the other players are going to come close. I don't think they've had as good years.
Okay.
But I do think the other players might have better careers.
Okay. Coach of the Year.
I am sticking with DeMeco Ryans.
There it is. I don't blame you. I thought you were crazy preseason for it, but Houston is having a much better year, and I think he's in the running.
Yeah. I think Kyle Shanahan is the best coach, but I don't think he's going to win since he's been a coach for
By the way, where's D'Amico Ryans last year?
San Francisco.
He was learning under the tutelage of Kyle Shanahan. Yeah.
But he's defensive guy as opposed to Kyle Shanahan.
Yes, but still, you're
I
learning from the
wasn't-
head coach.
That's not what I was trying to say. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
Okay, all right, we got to wrap
I
this
was
up.
trying to contradict.
All right, Super Bowl pick. Last thing, I'm going San Fran over Baltimore. Rematch of Super Bowl 47. This time, San Francisco pulls it out. What do you got?
I have the Ravens at the 49ers. Well, and I think that the Ravens are a better team, so I'm picking them.
All right. Those are our new predictions for the year. Let's see what comes true and what comes not. We'll talk about it after the regular season ends. All
I'm
right.
gonna get some water.
Yeah, go do that. Take care.